As we follow Jesus, it's always the case that he leads us into people's lives, and he leads people into our lives. And we begin to love those people and care about them. Often the dialogue that we have involves Jesus over time. And sometimes we've known somebody a long time, and they still don't seem to understand Jesus, or they haven't responded to Jesus. And we wonder why. We actually sometimes think it's our fault. Maybe we haven't done it clearly enough, or maybe they have questions that you haven't been able to answer. So we begin to second guess, am I doing it right? I think the key to understanding what's going on there is that Jesus, the Holy Spirit, is the one that must do the work internally to help someone understand. You can give them, you could be the best apologist in the world, but if God hasn't done his work, it won't click with them. You could give someone the simplest sentence, as Billy Graham often does, and the Holy Spirit uses it like that, and they understand it completely. So you don't know what's taking place. You know, there's a great little analogy or a metaphor that I like about a person who's standing on a beach with a blind person, and they're having the glorious sunset. The blind person hears the waves, they understand where they are, but they don't really get the whole picture. They don't really understand the beauty of that sunset. The friend is explaining it to them, and if he were in the mode of what I was talking about a minute ago, he might get upset because the guy didn't understand the colors, the beauty of the clouds, the number of degrees off the horizon the sun is. He explains it all to him. The guy doesn't see it. Well, in the blind analogy, you wouldn't get mad at that person. You wouldn't begin to second guess yourself that I'm not doing it right. You would simply realize the person's blind and they can't understand what you're saying. They can't visualize what you're saying. So you would be more gentle and more patient in that situation. So it is with our friends, and more specifically with those that are close to us, family, that over the years you've had dialogue about Jesus and they don't see it. We're even more patient because we know that God's the one who's at work. He must do the work. I know this is spiritual sounding stuff, but you must get in touch with this. You only have a small role to play in their life. It's a few words. The real work is the work of the Holy Spirit. And if you really, really want to understand what your role is in their life, your role is to believe that Christ is at work. Sometimes you don't see signals, but the work of God in John 6 is to believe. So if you believe and respond to the prompts and checks you get and your role in this, if you believe that God's at work, that's what you ought to be doing. Be satisfied with that. If 20 years goes by and your husband has not understood Christ yet, your children have not understood Christ, and you've raised them right, you've told them everything about Jesus, you've explained it to them thoroughly. It's like the blind person. They will not understand it until the Holy Spirit does his work. Don't get upset with them. Get upset with the Holy Spirit if you want to. He can handle it.